What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn. Get this. Eddie Hearn to match Anthony Joshua against a Fringe contender in December. Hearn is expected to match Anthony Joshua with a lower Fringe level contender for his December fight now that the match against Deontay Wilder is no longer happening. Joshua will be facing Wilder Wilder will not be facing Joshua for his fight, and instead he will be matched up against an unknown opponent who is not a threat to him. In other words, it will be something similar to the two Fringe level foes that Hearn dug up for AJ, okay? And he said, we had some offers from Saudi Arabia to fight Deontay Wilder. We accepted it, and Wilder accepted it. It didn't materialize, so now we're at other venues for the potential fight. Hearn via Talk Sports. Okay. Hearn has also talked about taking on Zhilei Zhang in China. Let me counterpunch. I don't like it at all. We've seen AJ fight, and then if he fights in December, that means he's fought 3 times against people that we did not really care for him to see. And Jermaine Franklin gave us a good fight because he just showed he was game after the Dillian White fight, right? Then it was supposed to have been Dillian White and turned out to be Robert Arlenius, and we know what happened there. And then he was in talks of taking on Filip Hrgovic for the IBF mandatory. So what the hell happened to that? This was today, or should I say now, yesterday, this news broke about him taking on a Fringe contender. You know, for Anthony Joshua, I'll say the same thing about him. Like I said, the same thing about Tyson Fury and other fighters that's supposed to be elite, but they're not really fighting the top opposition. Wilder's not fighting anyone. But then here's the problem. You're fighting Franklin. You're fighting Helenius. How does that prepare you for anybody on the level? You know, now you can look at it in another way. You could say, well, AJ's in a rebuilding stage. He needs to take his time. Lennox Lewis did the same shit, which he did. He didn't go back into a fight with Oliver McCall. He didn't feel pressured by promotional companies and reputations on expectations on what he should do. He didn't do any of that. You know, he took his time and then fought him later on. Now, the question is AJ really doing that? And we don't know at this point. You know, I think Eddie Hearn is just trying not to get him beat. But then you could argue, well, that's smart matchmaking. However, that does not go along with the itinerary that we are accustomed to of seeing Anthony Joshua. Shit, we've already seen a change of style and a change of aggressiveness, like Manny Pacquiao, aggressiveness. We've seen a change and a decline in that already. Now we're having a change and decline of opposition. That means that this guy has went down significantly. When they want Tyson Fury in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia instead of AJ, there's a problem. Okay? Because to me, it seems like the AJ versus Deontay fight was turned down, okay, due to the performance that Joshua put on. He might have knocked out Helenius, but the alleged juiced up Helenius gave him those bows, okay? He really showed him like, yo, I'm game for you, all right? And I didn't have a full training camp, but I'm going to give you what I got plus a little extra, you know what I mean? However, he did not look very impressive in that fight, except for the knockout. He was getting busted up. He was getting punched up. He was getting the business by Robert Arlenius. And maybe Saudi Arabia, Skills Challenge, looked at that and was like, We've seen AJ get his ass whooped before. We've seen him get beat last year. We've seen how he acted a fool and then broke down mentally. Maybe that was like, well, maybe we don't want to invest in him right now. Let's go for the juggler and let's still continue to push this undisputed fight, which they've both signed, Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury, for an undisputed heavyweight showdown, okay? In where? Saudi Arabia, though. So it just shows you that, you know, out with Joshua, then in with Tyson and Alexander Usyk still. Alexander Usyk's game and a gentleman. Tyson Fury's a showman, sometime a gentleman, sometime a maniac, sometimes a cokehead, sometimes a whore, sometimes a godly man, and sometimes everything else. So you get all that wrapped into one. Like Paulie Malignaggi said, hey, with Tyson Fury, you don't know what you're going to get. He's like a box of chocolates. Him and Forrest Gump said that, actually. But AJ, putting him into a safe fight, if it's rebuilding, that's cool. But the question is, what are you saving AJ for? You know what I mean? You're doing this to do what? If it's a purpose behind it, I can get behind it. But if it's just you just trying to keep AJ busy and keep lining his pockets with these guys, let me tell you something. Karma is a bitch. Andy Ruiz supposed to have been that. Okay? Andy Ruiz supposed to be that keep him busy fight. Robert Alini's supposed to be that keep him busy fight. And they both seen some unexpected things, especially in the Andy Ruiz one fight, that they never anticipated. Okay, so be careful with picking these fringe contenders, because you don't know what these guys been through. You don't know what drives them. Somebody might have died. You remember Buster Douglas's parent died before he went into Mike Tyson fight, and he knocked Mike Tyson out, a 30-1 underdog, and he did what he needed to do. You don't know what's going on in these people's lives. If you got some boxing gloves on and you're over 225 pounds, you are a heavyweight, because you got that Bridger weight bullshit still. But still, you have the opportunity. If you can punch, throw a punch, land a punch, you can win a fight. So with Eddie, I want him to fight, and you expect this from AJ. The end of the year, he needs to learn, and he needs to step up that opposition. If he doesn't, people are going to further look at him as a fighter on the decline. He's no longer a champion. He's been beaten twice back to back. He's had 2 fights against people we did not want him to fight at all. We didn't want to see him in the ring with. And then they still gave him or gave him things that we didn't even expect them to do to AJ. And say, so what could save him, would be fighting Zhang, China, big fight. Let's have it. Let's do it. Southpaw, redeem yourself. Fight that guy, the guy that beat Joe Joyce. If you beat him and dropped him in the Olympics, you can knock him out now at 40 years of age. That's what I would say. Or Filip Hrgovic, go that 3-time champion route. Let's do it. But anybody else is unacceptable here. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn planning now to put AJ into a lesser opposition with a lesser opponent. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.